Hi, everybody on here coming to you with this month's video. And if you see some funky things happening around here, it's because I've got a picture up in the background this time around. As much as I would have liked to have filmed outside, that just wasn't coordinating for me right now. So I'll have to do some live outside filming from other locations that I'm in as I'm traveling around the US. But I did take this picture earlier in June, and it was at a campsite that I was staying at, and just beautiful area. So the picture actually is a real picture. It's just that I'm not in that setting at the moment of recording this. So I want to get on with this month's video, which I'm titling "How Does Grace Heal a Broken Spirit?" And I think this is really important because with a lot of the code influences that we have coming up right now, it is very hard. The essence of spirit, being able to maintain spirit, is something that is really getting under attack for people. And I'm shifting, trying to get the glare off of my glasses from my screen. And through that, what I'm finding is that this is particularly going to come from those areas of people that are family or like family to us. And that is where it gets all the more challenging. Now, we have a lot of different things happening in the codes. And I think that there are going to be more attempts as we go into July to try to split the family units, try to break that up, try to create division within them. But even more than that, we're having right now a big uh, aspect of spirit versus materialism happening. So those family members that turn against other family members, that try to break their spirit, the people that are doing that are operating in materialism. And those people who are getting their spirit broken, in a lot of cases, they have to look and question themselves, am I operating in materialism? But more likely, it's because they're standing in spirit and they're not in a position of being able to be controlled by people. So when we look at what a broken spirit is in codes, in the language of codes, so to say, what we find is that a broken spirit happens when we are not taking command of things, when we're not going in and working and learning and teaching in situation, getting experiences working side by side with others. There might be a hierarchical structure as opposed to more of everybody's important, everybody's equally important, they all have their role, their piece and things. And there's also an aspect of struggling to find solutions and things. So that ties in with being overwhelmed by materialism or the material world or material needs in the world. And through that, what happens is that it is through a broken spirit that it is a call to learn. It's a call to learn from the experiences that we're having, to learn from what's happening, to not resist it or reject it, because when we do that, we resist and reject these solutions. We resist and reject the potential for success in there. And a lot of what's happening with the broken spirit is that we don't understand the experiences that we're having. And that's where that frustration, that's where that sense of feeling broken comes from, is because we're going through something and it's like, man, I'm standing in spirit, I'm doing this, I'm in this divine alignment, but at the same time, I don't understand why these challenges keep coming up. I don't understand why I'm going through all these hardships. And of course, when we look at codes, we know there's a lot of different pieces. It can be connected to somebody's life codes. It can be connected to their personal year codes. It can be connected to where they're living, where they're working, the people that they live with, the relationships that they have. But in this essence, it's part of the active codes that are available in July that is opening this up. So for some people that becomes magnified. For some people, they're experiencing something that they don't often experience in regards to this. And there are aspects that we can implement. Now, when we specifically look at this connecting with family drama, now family drama, again, is when those who are standing in materialism come in and create stress for those who are not standing in materialism. They're seeking their suffering. They're seeking to create anxiety in them, suffering in them because they're not controllable. And family drama comes up where you have one person trying to control another person in the situation, trying to suffocate their freedom, trying to suffocate their ability to choose and decide how their life is going to be, to um, suffocate or restrict their ability to focus on things of true value and to keep them distracted by standards and um, aspects of this is what you need to do or you're going to shame everybody type of thing, using this guilt tactic in there. And that's what is at the essence of family drama. So it's really a materialism thing, which uh, really works in opposition or polarity to the soul self in there. Now, when this comes up, what it does is it creates challenges. Oh boy, am I having trouble talking today. It creates challenges for people. And those challenges become very frustrating because a lot of times they'll come up regardless of how much we're standing in spirit. They come up um, because we're not being controllable. And therefore, that brings some material world challenges. We tend to be cut off from resources. We tend to have experiences that we have to go through things alone. We don't get that support that you would like to have from people that are family or like family, that are part of your own group in things. And so that calls us to say, how do we get through those challenges? How do we deal with this family drama? How do we deal with this sense of a broken spirit going on? And we know it if we look at the essence of Christ energy, if we look at the essence of Jesus's path throughout time and his life and experiences on earth. It wasn't easy. It was full of challenges. And it was, his family of not just his inner circle, but his family of his community, his family of humanity, that turned against him. And I think that's a big piece right there. The family of humanity being divided and being broken between this materialism and the soul path, which is really a huge obstacle. Now, I think more and more this upcoming month in July, and also as we go into 2024, we're going to start to see where people are going to come back to values more. We're going to start to see some of these things shifting and changing along the way. But in the meantime, we've got to be willing and able to deal with those challenges that come up as part of standing on the soul's path. So when we do that, the piece that we can implement is grace. And what's very, very interesting about grace is that grace operates on the same code energy pattern as God. And that is a really, I find, interesting and powerful piece to consider in that. When we look at that, which is why it's such a powerful tool. When we look at the essence of God, people have a lot of different ideas and concepts of God, but God is really neutral. It's not going to be found in the extremes. It is a kind of a balancing point. It is an objectivity. It is being able to look at things from multiple sides and perspectives. It is connected to implementing success where we are able to stand in integrity and not do business or make deals with people who are not in that space, who are operating with dangerous people, who are operating with people in the materialism aspect. It is about having a very open mind. And it is through grace or through God, depending on how you want to term things, and the piece that we are able to handle our challenges and turn them into something that can benefit us. And that's where it's very interesting. When we apply grace to challenges, what we find is because challenges, so many times we make them out to be a bad thing, but and they can be, rough on us. If we are not standing in divine alignment with challenges, what happens is it breaks down our sense of abundance. It breaks down our sense of prosperity. It blocks us from seeing things through to completion. But when we are standing in divine alignment with challenges, we open up the flow of abundance. It gives us the strength to see things through to completion, even if we don't like them, even if we're not comfortable with them. So when we apply grace to that, and the energy of that, what it does is it unfolds the energy patterns of self sufficiency, which means not having to rely on other people and opening up that ability to care for one's needs, opening up that ability to um, stand strong in the world on our own, enjoy the company of others, but not to be dependent for our basic needs on them. And I think this is huge. This is a huge thing. So consider that if you can apply that objectivity, if you can apply that ability to see things from multiple perspectives, look at things from multiple aspects, to just rest into things so they can solve themselves, as opposed to overthinking them, as opposed to being in battle through them, then we open up being able to take command of our life, being able to have control and power over our life instead of turning it over to people and things. So when we apply grace then to a broken spirit, the interesting piece with that is that grace then allows us to find the strength within ourselves to stand up to the bullies, to stand up to the abusers, to remove ourselves from those abusive situations and to realize, look, even if it's family, we don't have to stay in those situations. It gives us the opportunity and calls us into that introspective space of stillness and coming within, which is where we're going to connect with God, with the divine presence, source energy, whatever your terminology is for that, and to really look at how can I use this opportunity to strengthen my spiritual attributes and to stand stronger in them and to develop them, as opposed to just letting it break me down. It is a call to do things through divine service and not for the material world and or rewards, and to take a look and see where we may or may not be in alignment. And sometimes it's not so much that we're out of divine alignment as much as we need to strengthen those attributes. And that kind of answers that question of why are these challenges coming up if I'm standing in divine spirit? Because sometimes you can be standing in divine spirit, but you may still need to strengthen some of your spiritual attributes. You may need to be going through some of these experiences so you're better prepared to handle some other things that are coming in, or to handle them from that so-called more mature space, as opposed to the childish reaction spaces that we can go to when we face challenges. And I think that the aspect with a broken spirit that we also want to keep in mind is to not take things so personally. And that's also, I think, a lot of times maybe connected to the broken spirit, is that aspect of I can't have the successes unless I play the games, unless I sacrifice my integrity, my quality of things. And that is not true. So when we look at a broken spirit aspect, this is an experience. It is an experience that is teaching us, and the key is for us to ask ourselves, what can I learn from this experience? Who are the other people who have gone through these experiences and how have they gotten through them? And look at what they did and what their choices were. And it is an opportunity through a broken spirit to actually open up our own path and our own way in the world. It is that opportunity to put our own ideas forward as opposed to living through other people's ideas. And that's why sometimes these family things come up, because or those that are like family, because a lot of times we're living by their structures, their ideas, and we're not honoring ourselves in the process of that. So again, we're not going to necessarily avoid the challenges, but grace is our powerful tool at this time. And grace will will heal and mend, try to combine the two of those together, heal and mend a broken spirit if we allow it to. If we allow it to be a teacher for us, if we allow it to let us take a look at the experiences that we are having and embrace the experience for what it's teaching us through the challenges. So I hope that helps you out. I hope that gives you something great to work with over the month of July. And hopefully when I come back to you at the end of July, that I will be able to be actually outside in nature, and you can see the nature around me as opposed to just being able to post a picture up. So take care, everybody. I'll see you soon and have a great month.